Now at 5, General Mills announces a $48 million expansion of its frozen dough plant in Joplin. Plus, we're going to hear from some current and former employees of the Tyson plant in Knoll about how the pending closure is impacting them. And
Hurricane Idalia spinning closer to the Gulf Coast. I'm Jason Allen in Crystal River, Florida, where this water could rise several feet as the storm gets closer.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
General Mills announces its plans to expand in Joplin. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. The global food manufacturer is investing $48 million and creating 47 new jobs at its frozen dough plant location in Joplin. General Mills says the expansion will increase its manufacturing and packaging capacity to meet increased demand. After the expansion, the plant's going to have the capability to produce more than 1 billion pounds of frozen dough products per year. The expansion is scheduled to be complete in early 2024. Less than 2 months, the closure of the Tyson plant in Knoll, Missouri will affect hundreds of families in McDonald County, as more than 1,500 workers will lose their jobs. While some employees are choosing to remain in the company until the very last day, others are already quitting. According to former and current employees we spoke with, Tyson's offering $1,000 before taxes for those who choose to stay until October. The closure is affecting the workers not only financially but also emotionally.
It was shocking. It was definitely a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, a lot of decisions were instantly put in front of us that we had to make, life-changing. Should we stay? Should we move? Should we stay till the last days? Should we go ahead and get jobs now?
Sorry. I lost our life family. I'm going to miss a lot of them.
The former and current employees also said the company is bringing in other Tyson facilities to talk to them and get the workers relocated. Tonight at 6, the complete story of the former and current Tyson employees and what they're planning for their future. A Joplin-based company today held a discussion about long-term insurance at the Joplin Senior Center. The owner of Staggs Financial Services, Stephanie Staggs, explained the importance of long-term care and understanding the policies. Long-term care covers daily activities such as bathing, mobility, and more. Many people assume long-term care is included in their life insurance, but that's not always the case. Not understanding insurance policies could lead to more problems.
They thought they had long-term care. They paid $50,000 for policies over the past 5 years. And again, $50,000, it was supposed to be only a $250,000 death benefit, which it really isn't much in the world of life insurance, but it was supposed to have long-term care, and it was a whole life policy. Well, the accumulated value was zero. So again, they paid $50,000 for something that on paper was worth $0.
Staggs says it's best to review policies to make sure you're getting what you pay for. Well, another nice day out there. Let's check in with meteorologist Doug Heddy.
Yeah, it turned out to be a great Tuesday for us today. High temperatures right around 90 degrees, but at least the humidity, it wasn't too bad. 88 in Stockton, it's 90 in Miami, it's 89. In Pittsburgh, Parsons is sitting at about 91 degrees. Through the evening, we slide back through the 80s, into the 70s, into the 60s later on tonight, so another comfortable night. We do have some cumulus clouds which are dropping through. There could be an isolated shower trying to pop up on the Kansas side, but most of us are going to end up staying dry and look pretty good through the evening. Of course, we're tracking Hurricane Idalia, which is spinning right on the west coast of Florida at this point in time. Category 2, clocking sustained winds at 100 miles per hour, but it's actually going to strengthen a bit as it heads towards the coast during the overnight hours tonight. More on that, plus our week in just a bit.
See you soon. Communities along parts of the Florida coast are preparing for that hurricane. Reporter Jason Allen is in the city of Crystal River, where evacuations have begun.
Hurricane Idalia made its presence known in the Florida Keys. Outer bands lashing Key West Tuesday. Forecasters expect the storm will quickly intensify before making landfall in Florida's Big Bend region as a Category 3 hurricane.
10, 12 plus feet of storm surge could happen in some of those areas. And the storm surge is not something you're not going to win that battle.
Officials have ordered evacuations in low-lying areas. Many are heeding the warnings, boarding up homes and protecting businesses with sheets of plastic and sandbags.
It has all the possibilities of flooding big time here.
Those planning to ride out the storm have cleared grocery store shelves. Longtime Florida resident Dave Iwanek picked up some essentials and says the predicted storm surge has him worried.
This is different. We haven't seen this kind of water coming. 9 to 12 is something to look at.
Here in Crystal River, Florida, north of Tampa, we've seen a steady stream of trucks towing trailers, boats, moving items out of low-lying areas that could end up under several feet of water. Idalia already passed Cuba, flooding parts of the western tip. Forecasters expect after landfall in Florida, the storm will cross the peninsula and drench southern Georgia. Idalia is expected to reach the Carolinas by Thursday. Jason Allen, CBS News, Crystal River, Florida.
The Justice Department, in partnership with several other countries, has announced the takedown of a notorious bot network known as Quackbot that was being used by cyber criminals. Federal investigators say Quackbot malware involved more than 700,000 computers worldwide using phishing tactics. Officials say the scheme resulted in $58 million in losses for businesses and government entities in the last 18 months alone.
We seized through this operation almost $9 million in cryptocurrency by the cyber criminals. And that money now can be returned to victims of some of these cyber attacks. Stopping cybercrime is a matter of national security.
Authorities say they're working to remove the malware from victims' computers and are setting up a mechanism for victims to recover funds. Still ahead, lowering the price of medications.
The Biden administration reveals the first 10 prescription drugs that will be part of first ever price negotiation. I'm Natalie Brand with the details, plus when savings are expected to take effect.
And next in Health Watch, how drinking too much alcohol could cause more problems than you might realize. Topping today's Health Watch, women who maintain a consistent body weight after the age of 60 are more likely to live exceptionally long lives. That's according to a study from the University of San Diego that looked at almost 55,000 women. It found those who unintentionally lost more than 5% of their body weight were 51% less likely to live to the age of 90. Scientists say the findings could suggest general guidance for weight loss in older women might not help them live longer. According to the CDC, more than half of Americans age 18 and older regularly consume alcohol, and nearly 17% of adults binge drink. But too much alcohol can cause more problems than you might realize.
The life that you deserve.
Alcohol used to be a big part of Veronica Valley's life.
My drinking was very chaotic and dangerous from when I was about 15 years old.
Like many, Veronica accepted her excessive drinking until she realized it was holding her back. Research shows about 15 million Americans struggle with an alcohol use problem, but only 10% receive help. Excessive alcohol use is linked to an increased risk of injuries, chronic diseases, cancer, and poor pregnancy outcomes.
People can spend 10 years from the moment they wake up and think, oh, there's something wrong with my drinking, to actually stopping.
Pain is another side effect of alcohol. More than half of people with an alcohol use disorder experience some type of persistent pain. In a new British study, researchers found chronic alcohol consumption may make people more sensitive to pain through two different molecular mechanisms, one driven by alcohol intake and one driven by alcohol withdrawal.
I discovered everything I thought about sobriety and drinking was completely wrong. So I thought sobriety was boring. That's what our culture tells us.
Veronica finally decided to get sober at age 27 and hasn't looked back.
The number one thing I want people to know is that when you stop drinking, you don't give up anything. You don't miss out on anything, just the opposite.
Now she's a recovering coach and therapist helping others break free from alcohol addiction. Veronica says the number one mistake people make when trying to stop drinking is doing it alone. She says it's important to find a community of support. Finally, your voice assistant device, like, say, Alexa or Siri, well, they might be helpful with daily tasks, but a new study out of Mass General Brigham found it could be a different story if you need to administer CPR. Researchers asked 4 different voice assistants 8 questions about the emergency procedure, but were mainly given unrelated and inconsistent responses. Doctors said the findings show if you need help administering CPR, you should call emergency services. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, what the latest jobs report could mean for the wages of American workers.
Plus, our temperatures will slowly start to warm up as we go through the week. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, it definitely turned out to be a nice Tuesday for us today. Temperatures still pretty good. Most of us right around 90 degrees, but at least our humidity hasn't been that bad, so it's made it feel pretty nice across the region. Nice shot. This is Indigo Sky Casino and Resort just outside of Seneca, Missouri. We do have a few little cumulus clouds, but overall it looks pretty good. All right, of course, we've dried out over the past week or two, but we got quite a bit of rain at the beginning of the month. So for the month, just shy of 4 inches, but that deficit still almost 10 inches below where we should be for this time of the year. 88 in Stockton, 87 in Anderson, Veneta at 90, Chanute is sitting at 91 degrees. And again, our humidity, not that bad. Dew points are sitting lower 60. So if we pull out our dew point tracker, that kind of puts us into the not bad to a little bit sticky out there, but of course, nothing like we have seen over the past couple weeks. Let's go outside. Here's 7th. Here's Rangeline sitting at 89. It feels like 89, northerly winds at about 5 to 10. If you want to get outside this evening, go ahead and do it. Temperatures are going to be fantastic. We slide back through the 80s, eventually down into the 70s later on tonight. We do have a few little cumulus clouds, couple random little showers popping up in our far western counties. Most of us are going to stay dry. We just have this weak little wave that is kind of sliding through during the evening hours. Of course, if we track down into the Gulf, Hurricane Idalia, which is strengthening. The ocean waters are very warm on the west coast of Florida. So this is a Category 2 hurricane, but most likely will strengthen into a Category 3, clocking sustained winds at 100 miles per hour, moving north at about 10 to 15 miles per hour. And as we go through the overnight hours, so here's 2 a.m. becomes a Category 3, should make landfall between Tallahassee and Gainesville 6, 7, 8 a.m. during the morning hours. So very high storm surge on the western side of Florida. Then it tracks into Georgia, starts to weaken, and then back out into the Atlantic as we go into later on this week. So that's going to be a big story as we go through the next couple days. For us, we have this northerly flow, so that's why we've been a little bit cooler. As we head toward the weekend, a little upper level wave tries to head toward us. This may give us a few random showers as we head into the holiday weekend, but I really think the next several days are going to be mainly dry. All right, let's go through the overnight hours. Mid 60s for you tonight. As we go into the noon hour tomorrow, mid 80s. I think most of us will warm similar to what we had today. 89, 90 degrees. Tomorrow night, we drop back upper 50s to near 60 degrees, so a nice start on Thursday. And then again, sunny skies on Thursday afternoon, a little bit cooler. High temperatures are going to be into the mid 80s for highs. Day planner for you Wednesday, 64 to start, high temp 89, up to about 86 by 4 p.m. And you can see our temperatures start to warm as we go into the holiday weekend. 89 on Friday, 92 on Saturday, 93 on Sunday. We may get a pop-up thunderstorm on Labor Day, but overall, for the unofficial end of summertime, it looks pretty good heading into this weekend.
Yeah, it certainly has been a lot hotter in years past, and in fact, over the past month than that.
Yeah.
So not too bad.
Nope.
Thanks, Doug. Coming up, how the Biden administration is taking steps to make prescription drugs more affordable. Topping today's Consumer Watch, the number of available jobs in the U.S. dropped for the 3rd consecutive month. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, it's below 9 million for the first time since early 2021. Job openings fell to 8.8 million from 9.1 million in June. The imbalance between worker demand and supply could cause wages to rise. The Biden administration today announced the first 10 prescription drugs will be part of new price negotiations between Medicare and major pharmaceutical companies. The medications range from those that treat diabetes to heart disease to leukemia. Reporter Natalie Brand has more details from Washington, D.C.
This is a long time in coming.
The president says relief is on the way as Medicare is poised to begin negotiating prices directly with drug companies, starting with 10 commonly used high-priced prescriptions.
Drugs that treat everything from heart failure, blood clots, diabetes, kidney disease, arthritis, blood cancers, Crohn's disease, and so much more.
The Department of Health and Human Services estimates at least 9 million seniors on Medicare take at least one of these 10 drugs, paying nearly $3.5 billion out of pocket last year.
They are the premier drugs in terms of usage and cost. And they're drugs that so many of our seniors are struggling to pay for.
Nancy Lamond with AARP says that's impacting seniors' ability to take the medications they need.
So many of them are delaying picking up their prescriptions because they can't afford to pay for them, or they're getting pills and cutting them in half to make sure they last longer.
Drug manufacturers have filed 8 lawsuits so far to try and block the program from taking effect. They argue it's government overreach and not a real negotiation.
The prices are too high.
Sheldon Armis, who used to work for a pharmaceutical company, takes Xarelto, one of the medications on the list. He says skyrocketing prescription drug costs hurt not only seniors, but taxpayers too.
That $500 cost for Xarelto should have been negotiated way down, so the American public doesn't have to pay the balance.
Savings won't be seen immediately. The negotiated prices are scheduled to take effect in 2026. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
The Biden administration says this is just the first wave of negotiated drug prices authorized as part of the Inflation Reduction Act. It plans to add up to 60 drugs to that list in the future. About 44 million Americans with student debt must soon start repaying those loans. Interest is going to start accruing on education loans on Friday, with payments set to resume in October. The change could impose a financial strain on many households after a 3.5-year hiatus during the COVID-19 pandemic. Amazon is raising its free shipping threshold for some customers by $10. To qualify for free shipping, non-Prime members typically have to place an order for at least $25. Amazon says it's raised that minimum to $35. It's being tested out for regions based on zip codes. That means all customers in a given region will see the new policy applied to their orders. A final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, how an innovative security system could save the lives of students in a crisis. Then on KOAM News at 6, a Baxter Springs, Kansas man is sentenced for a child sex crime. Plus, we're going to hear more from a current and former Knoll Tyson plant worker about the impact of that plant's closure. And Pitt State football kicks off in 2 days. We're going to hear from the Gorillas as they prepare for the season opener against Washburn. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Okay, look at this. A rare corpse flower finally opened its petals this week at the Huntington Library near Los Angeles, giving off that smell of rotting flesh. Oh boy, the giant Amorphophilus titanum unleashes its notoriously pungent odor in an effort to attract pollinators like carrion flies and beetles. The flower is as tall as a human being, as you saw, and it's actually a collection of hundreds of little flowers, both male and female. Probably will never be the inspiration for a perfume. It smells like rotting flesh, but the bloom is so rare that as you see people line up to experience it.
Hey, whatever they want to do.
I guess it's their time, huh? It's their nose.
All right, weather-wise, looks pretty good over the next couple days. Very similar tomorrow to what we saw today. 86 on Thursday, and the 90s return as we head into the holiday weekend.
Thanks for joining us. CBS Evening News is next. And of course, we're going to be right back here at 6. See you then. Let's make it a great evening.